Green the vault of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Zip, where the se-crets will start to unzip. Take a breath and prepare for the trip. Green orbs glow in the triadic stack. Count the spells so there is nothing lack. Draw a card for the strength you will pack. Pot of greed with a jade-col-ored face, adding 2 to the hand in this place. Speeding up the most ter-ri-ble race. Grace-ful char-it-y comes from the sky, drawing 3 as the shadows go by. Discard 2 and prepare for the die. Lord of flame in the ordeal of fire, burning higher and burning with ire. Trib-ute paid for the soul you desire. Nec-ross walks from the torp of the grave. Chained limbs are the ones you must save. Con-tract signed for the power you crave. Trib-ute of Nec-ross. Discard monsters in every alley. End the game with a final dead tally. Sangan watches with 3 yellow eyes, searching out for a wicked surprise. From the field to the grave where he lies, axe of gravity holds them in chains, locking down all the paths and the lanes. Locking metal is all that remains. I've seen raiders trap every blast, turning back all the spells that were cast, making sure that the ending will last. Tri-ble falls like a flood, washing field with the rain and the mud. Kill the bloom and the flower and bud. Soul exchange for a price you must pay. Take a monster and take it away. Skip the battle for just one more day. You will burn with the soul. Discard dragons to take back control. Win the game is the ultimate goal. Se-crets will glow with the blue, as try monsters that come after you. Trust the armor to see the game through. And needles his cur-leading blows, waiting for all the monsters that fall. He is waiting inside of these walls. Final counter for library head. Read the cards that the ancients have said. Truth is found in the books of the dead. Now the zip has been finally closed, in the light where the truth is exposed, for the fate that the cards have imposed. See
Welcome back to the deep dive. Usually when we sit down at these microphones, we've got a 50-page business case study in front of us.
Right.
Or maybe a dense historical manifesto that smells like old library dust.
Something very academic, yeah.
Exactly. But today, well, today is different. I'm looking at the table between us right now, and instead of a white paper, there is a stack.
A very chaotic stack.
A messy, colorful, incredibly nostalgic stack of what looks like, well, childhood.
It certainly evokes that feeling, doesn't it?
It really does.
But I think childhood might be a bit reductive for what we're actually going to do today.
Okay, fair enough.
What we have here is a curated stack of artifacts, specifically early-era Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading cards.
Which is amazing.
And before you roll your eyes, or before anyone listening asks if we're going to spend this deep dive discussing the finer points of playground gambling.
I wasn't going to roll my eyes. I was mostly going to ask why there is a green pot with human teeth staring at me from the top of the pile.
We'll definitely get to the pot, but let me frame the mission first.
Go for it. Frame away.
We aren't just looking at cardboard today. We are looking at a highly intricate system of logic.
Okay.
We are analyzing a concept that I like to refer to as ReforgeRhetoricRefactor.
ReforgeRhetoricRefactor. Okay, you're hitting me with the heavy terminology early on. Break that down for me.
It's the analytical lens we're going to use for this entire deep dive.
Let's hear it.
Reforge is how the game takes a completely static image, like a knight or a dragon, and gives it a tangible mechanical purpose.
It makes the picture do something.
Exactly. Then rhetoric is the argument the card makes. Why should you, the player, put me in your deck? What do I actually do for you?
What's the pitch?
Right. And finally, refactor is how that specific card fundamentally changes the reality of the game state once it's played.
So we're really digging into the underlying math of this.
We are debugging the syntax of the game, essentially. We're going to explore the EthosLogosPathos of the creatures that inhabit this very strange universe.
So if I'm understanding this right, we are basically psychoanalyzing the monsters.
In a way, yes. But more importantly, we're psychoanalyzing the person who holds them.
The player.
The collector identity player, as it functions in our framework. Because if you look at the source material we pulled for today, almost every single card here is presented in what the game calls a playset.
Right. I did notice that when we were setting up, we don't just have one headless knight on the table. We have three of them.
Exactly.
We have 3 pot of greeds, 3 mystical space typhoons. Everything is in triplicate.
And that is the collector identity player mindset in physical form. In the game's syntax, the rules usually allow you to have a maximum of 3 copies of any specific card in your deck.
So seeing them in threes implies something specific.
It implies pure intent. It implies obsession. These aren't just pretty pictures to slip into a binder and look at. They are ammunition.
A stockpile.
Yes, this is a stockpile for a war.
A war fought with paper airplanes and haunted suits of armor. Absolutely love it. But you mentioned EthosLogosPathos earlier, which sounds straight out of Philosophy 101.
It is.
How does ancient Greek rhetoric apply to a Japanese card game?
Think of it this way. Logos is the raw logic, the cold, hard math of the game.
Does this card make my numbers go up?
Precisely. Pathos is the emotion. It's the story, the underlying tragedy written in the flavor text that has absolutely zero impact on whether you actually win or lose the game.
But it makes you feel something for the cardboard.
Right. And ethos is the character or the inherent authority of the card. What role does it play in the broader ecosystem?
Okay, I'm with you. So we have the raw math, the sad backstories, and the structural roles.
And then we have the really weird ones, the cards that I classify as an emergent architectonic mystery.
That's quite a mouthful.
It's for the cards that make you look at them and just ask, who built this and why does it exist?
I definitely saw a few of those in the stack. There's one card that is literally just the result window of a slot machine.
We will definitely break that one down.
But let's start with the big one. The face of the franchise, or at least the face of the internet memes. We have to talk about Pot of Greed.
Pot of Greed. The ultimate, unfiltered expression of logos.
It's hideous, by the way. Can we just acknowledge the art for a second before we get into the math?
It's a very striking image.
It's a green anthropomorphic jar. It's got these narrow red eyes that look either incredibly stoned or deeply evil, or maybe both. And this massive, unsettling, human-toothed grin.
It's unnerving.
It really is. It looks like it's actively mocking you just for holding it in your hand.
Well, it is mocking the rules of fair play. That grin is the grin of someone getting away with a crime.
Oh, so...
Mechanically speaking, Pot of Greed is perhaps the most elegant piece of syntax in the entire history of the game.
Let me read it. The text is literally 2 sentences, but it's really just one command. Draw 2 cards from your deck.
That's it.
Simple. You play the pot, you get 2 cards.
But let's do a syntax debug on that specific interaction. Why is that so unbelievably good?
Because to a non-player, or to you listening at home who maybe hasn't touched a card game, it sounds pretty mundane. Oh, I get 2 cards, big deal.
Right. But you have to ask yourself, in a card game, what is your primary resource?
I assume it's the life points. Like, you lose the game if those hit 0, right?
That is the condition of defeat, yes. But your actual resource, the currency you spend to make things happen in the game, is your hand.
The cards you're holding.
Exactly. Your hand represents your options. It's your intelligence, your potential actions. If I have 5 cards in my hand and you only have 2, I have 5 different ways to attack you or defend myself, and you only have 2 ways to respond.
Options equal power. The more cards I have, the more control I have.
Now look at the cost of playing Pot of Greed.
Okay.
You have to play the card itself to activate it. So you take 1 card out of your hand, the pot, and you put it on the table, it resolves, and then it goes to the graveyard.
So at that exact moment, I am down 1 resource. I spent a card.
Correct. But then the effect of the syntax resolves. You draw 2 new cards from your deck.
So I spent 1 card and I got 2 back.
Which means you are what we call +1 in card advantage. You have completely replaced the card you initially used, and you have gained an entirely free resource out of thin air.
I see.
And here is the absolute key to Pot of Greed's ethos. There is no secondary cost.
What do you mean?
You don't pay any life points to activate it. You don't have to sacrifice a monster. You don't have to wait a turn for it to trigger. It is instantaneous, free power. It is the literal embodiment of greed.
It's basically like printing your own money.
It is exactly like printing money. It refactors the game state instantly in your favor. It compresses your deck, making it smaller, and mathematically bringing you closer to your winning pieces. It is, by all definitions, the perfect card.
Which is funny because right next to it in our stack here, we have this other card that visually looks way cooler, but mechanically seems way worse. Chaos Greed.
Ah, yes, Chaos Greed, the emergent architectonic mystery counterpart to our grinning pot.
The art on this one is pure heavy metal. It's got these crumbling stone tablets, glowing ethereal hands, a really dark ritualistic vibe. It looks like Pot of Greed went to the gym, got angry, and joined a doomsday cult.
It's a very serious piece of visual rhetoric, and look at the text block on it compared to Pot of Greed.
Yeah, Pot of Greed just has that one little line. Chaos Greed has a whole paragraph. Let me read this for you guys. You can only activate this card when 4 or more of your cards are removed from play and there are no cards in your graveyard. Draw 2 cards from your deck.
So notice the reward at the very end.
It's the exact same. Draw 2 cards.
The logos is completely identical. The mathematical output is exactly a +1 in card advantage. But the requirement to get there.
It sounds like a total nightmare. No cards in your graveyard. In a game where you are constantly throwing used spells and destroyed monsters into that exact pile, that seems functionally impossible.
It requires a massive, deliberate architectural setup. You can't just throw this into any deck. You have to build your entire strategy, your entire system architecture around keeping that graveyard completely empty.
You have to be actively banishing your own cards.
You have to be an engineer. Pot of Greed asks you to simply exist and play the game. Chaos Greed asks you to solve a complex logistical puzzle just to get the same reward.
So why on earth would anyone ever play Chaos Greed?
Because of the collector identity player mindset. Some players, let's call them the architects, they actually love that challenge.
They don't want the easy way out.
Exactly. They don't want the free lunch. They want to meticulously build the machine that makes the lunch. But from a purely competitive syntax debug perspective, Pot of Greed is infinitely superior because it requires 0 friction.
It's the difference between finding a crisp $20 bill on the sidewalk versus building a complex printing press to forge a $20 bill.
Precisely. It's all about the efficiency of the syntax. And speaking of taking things that don't belong to you, let's move to what I call the rhetoric of theft.
Oh, we have a playset of Snatch Steal here.
We do?
Now, this art just cracks me up. It is so unbelievably literal. It's a little guy kind of raggedy looking, running away with a big sack slung over his back. And in the background, there's this bigger guy in a red shirt just yelling and shaking his fist.
It looks like a panel from a Sunday morning comic strip.
It does. It's so disarming. It looks silly.
It looks silly, but the effect printed on it is utterly devastating. The syntax reads, "Equip to a monster on your opponent's side of the field. Take control of the equipped monster."
You just take it. Just yoink. That's mine now.
Imagine the emotional scenario for the player. You have spent 3 agonizing turns gathering your resources. You have sacrificed your smaller, weaker minions to finally summon your ace monster.
Your blue eyes white dragon or whatever your big boss is.
Right. You feel powerful. You have the dominant board presence. And then I simply play this card with a cartoon thief drawn on it, and I just reach over and slide your magnificent dragon across the table to my side.
I think I would flip the table.
That sounds infuriating. It is a kidnapping. But if you look at the fine print on Snatch Steal, there is a very specific rhetoric of exchange happening here.
Let me see. Here it is. Your opponent gains 1,000 life points at each of Hisher standby phases.
So there is a cost.
Okay, so I take your best monster, but in exchange, I am passively healing you every single turn. 1,000 life points a turn is a pretty decent chunk of health, isn't it?
It is, and this is exactly where we have to analyze the ethos of the game's mechanics. The card poses a very deep philosophical question to the player. What is the actual price of a monster?
Is a dragon worth giving your opponent 1,000 life points?
Is it?
I feel like yes. I mean, I have the dragon now.
Resoundingly yes. In high-level competitive play, life points are generally viewed as a resource you are fully willing to spend, or in this case, ignore to gain board control.
Because if I take your monster, I can just use it to attack you.
Exactly. If I take your monster that has 3,000 attack power and I hit you directly with it, who cares if I healed you for 1,000 beforehand? I am still netting 2,000 points of damage against you overall.
Plus, you don't have the dragon anymore to hit me back with.
Right. I have taken your shield and I have turned it into my sword.
So it completely recontextualizes the opponent's asset. It's not just removal where I destroy your card, it's conversion.
You are refactoring their soldier into your soldier. The healing effect is just the rent you pay to keep him on your side of the field. It totally challenges the standard ethos that healing your opponent is an inherently bad thing. Here, healing the opponent is just the cost of doing business.
It's a real devil's bargain. I will literally make you live longer, but you're going to spend that extra time getting beaten up by your own pet.
It's brutal, but it's mathematically sound.
Okay, let's look at Mystical Space Typhoon next. This one feels like a staple. Even I recognize this one. The art is this swirling blue tornado shooting lightning.
It is the absolute delete key of the game's syntax. The text is very clean. Destroy 1 spell or trap card on the field.
Simple, clean, unambiguous.
But the truly key detail here, the thing that makes it fascinating, is the tiny little lightning bolt icon in the corner of the card. It denotes that it's a quick play spell.
Which means what exactly in the context of the rules?
It means speed. It means interaction. Most spell cards, like Pot of Greed or Snatch Steal, you can only play during your own turn. A quick play spell operates much more like a trap card.
So you can use it on the other person's turn.
Yes, you can set it face down on the table and then activate it in response to something your opponent does during that turn.
Oh, so if you try to play Snatch Steal to kidnap my monster, I can chain Mystical Space Typhoon right then and there.
You can certainly try, and this is where the syntax debug gets wonderfully complex.
Wait, does it not work?
Well, destroying a card doesn't always negate its effect in Yu-Gi-Oh! If you destroy a normal spell, the effect usually still happens. But for continuous cards that have to stay on the field to work, like Snatch Steal, destroying them actually does stop the effect.
So MST, Mystical Space Typhoon, is essentially the shield against these continuous threats.
It is the ultimate disruption tool. If Pot of Greed is all about building your own tower higher and faster, Mystical Space Typhoon is entirely about kicking over your opponent's sandcastle.
I do enjoy kicking over a good sandcastle, but if we're talking about really messing with the opponent's head, this next card is, well, it feels deeply personal. Dragged down into the grave.
This is one of the darkest cards in the entire game, both visually and mechanically.
The art is genuinely terrifying. It's a person being literally pulled down into the earth by these decaying purple zombie hands. And the person is clutching 2 playing cards in their hand, almost like they're trying to save their hand even as they're being buried alive.
The visual rhetoric is strong, but the mechanic is pure syllogistic disruption. Listen to the syntax. You and your opponent look at each other's hands, select one card from each other's hands and discard them to the graveyard, and each draw one card.
Wait. We look at each other's hands.
For full transparency.
That breaks the fundamental rule of card games.
It does. For a brief moment, the fog of war is entirely lifted. I get to see all your secrets. I see your pot of greed. I see your snatch steal. I see all the hidden traps you were waiting to spring on me. And you get to see all of mine.
That feels incredibly invasive as a player.
It is deeply invasive.
Yeah.
And then comes the cruelty of the refactor. I get to choose what you lose. I act as the judge, jury, and executioner of your strategy. I strip you of your absolute best weapon.
But I get to do the exact same thing to you.
Mutually assured destruction.
Wow.
It forces an artificial equilibrium of misery. We both lose our best card, and then we both draw a blind replacement from the top of our decks. It completely resets the mental state of the game.
It's like it's saying, I am perfectly willing to hurt myself just to ensure that you get hurt too.
It is psychological warfare masquerading as a card game. You are looking the person across the table right in the eye and systematically ripping their strategy apart.
That is the logos of control, for sure. But I think we need to shift gears a bit.
Or so.
Well, we've talked a lot about the power cards, the syntax shifters, the ones that dominate the game. I want to talk about the cards that basically don't do anything at all.
The vanilla monsters.
The normal monsters, the ones with the yellow backgrounds and absolutely zero effect text, just pure flavor text.
This is where the pathos of the game really comes to the forefront. Because some of these stories...
Man, they're so tragic. The one that jumped out at me immediately from the stack is Headless Knight.
We have 3 of them sitting right here.
The art is this incredibly moody suit of armor. No head, obviously, but it's glowing with this spooky, ethereal purple aura from inside the helmet. And he's kind of hunched over. He just looks exhausted.
Read the flavor text for us. This is where the character quality motives really shine through.
It says, a haunted spirit of a falsely accused knight who wanders in search of truth and justice.
Truth and justice. That is a highly noble goal. It's a classic Arthurian hero's journey.
Yeah.
Now look at his numerical stats. Look at his logos.
Okay, he has 1450 attack and 1700 defense.
In the competitive context of the game, that is complete garbage.
Hey, don't be mean to him. He's trying his best.
I am just being mathematically objective. 1450 attack loses to almost every single standard attacker played in the game. It loses to Archfiend Soldier. It loses to basically anything your opponent will summon.
So he's out there, wandering the earth for truth and justice.
But he is simply not strong enough to ever find it. He is mathematically destined to fail.
It is so sad.
The game mechanics, his actual syntax, actively refuse to support his narrative motive. He is a literal tragedy printed on a piece of cardboard.
That is heartbreaking. Why does a card like this even exist then?
From a purely cynical design perspective, to be pack filler, to be the common card you were disappointed to pull instead of the shiny holographic rare card.
Right.
But for the collector identity player, he becomes something else. He becomes a mascot. You don't put him in your deck because you think he's going to help you win the tournament. You put him in because you genuinely feel bad for him.
You want to give him a chance to clear his name?
Exactly. You are projecting real human emotion onto a mass-produced piece of paper because the text block told you a very short, sad story. That is the power of pathos.
I want to equip him with a sword and help him find the truth. I really do. But on the complete opposite end of the emotional spectrum, we have this guy, Aitsu.
Aitsu, the absolute comedy of errors.
I love this guy so much. The art is just, it's a red morph suit looking stick figure guy. And he is standing very precariously, I might add, on a giant folded paper airplane that is just flying through a bright blue sky.
He looks completely out of his depth.
He looks like he has absolutely no idea what he is doing or how he got there.
And the flavor text completely confirms that suspicion.
Let me read it. He seems to be very unreliable, but he might have incredible potential.
Seems to be very unreliable. That is the game designer looking you directly in the eye and telling you, this card is bad.
And his stats, let me check.
Yeah.
Oh, 100 attack, 100 defense.
That is the lowest of the low. It is
Right.
the absolute bottom of the barrel. A stiff breeze would destroy Aitsu.
So what about the second half of the sentence? The incredible potential. Is that true?
It is a lie.
Right.
Well, it is a contextual truth. In the broader scope of the game, Aitsu is actually part of a larger set. There are other cards named Koitsu, which means this guy, Soitsu, that guy, and Doitsu, which guy.
Okay, that's hilarious.
And if you have them together, they can combine in some very weird, highly specific ways to become somewhat powerful.
Oh, I see.
But in the context of this specific stack of cards on the table, He is entirely alone. The potential is completely missing. He is just a weird guy on a paper airplane waiting for a partner that isn't there.
So it's an emergent mystery. Why is he even in this pile?
Yeah.
Why print a card that openly admits it's unreliable?
Because it creates texture in the world building.
Oh.
If every single card was a generic Dark Dragon of Doom with 3,000 attack points, the game's universe would feel incredibly flat and boring.
You need contrast.
Exactly. Aitsu provides scale. He represents the zero, so you can appreciate the dragon's hero. You need the clumsy amateur to truly appreciate the terrifying master.
And speaking of clumsy amateurs, we have Swordsman of Landstar right next to him.
Ah, yes, the pure novice archetype.
He looks like a level 1 anime protagonist. Big wide eyes, goggles on his head, and he's holding a sword that looks slightly too heavy for his little arms.
And the text.
An amateur with a sword, this fairy warrior relies on its mysterious powers.
Notice the self-deprecation again. An amateur. And his stats match that 500 attack. He is objectively weak. But the phrase mysterious powers implies that he could be strong one day.
It's the character quality of potential energy. He isn't strong yet, but he has room to grow.
Precisely. He's the level 1 RPG character at the start of the game. The collector identity looks at him and sees a story just beginning. When they look at Pot of Greed, they see a story ending the immediate drawing of cards to win. Landstar is an investment in narrative.
It's really interesting how the game mixes these classic fantasy tropes, knights, fairies, dragons, with some genuinely weird sci-fi concepts. Like this card, Unknown Warrior of Fiend.
Okay, we absolutely have to address the name of this card first.
Yeah.
Unknown Warrior of Fiend.
It sounds like a really bad automated translation.
It highly likely is. Early localization of these games was notoriously rough, but it inadvertently adds a layer of unintentional surrealism to the card. But look at the text.
The speed of this warrior creates an intense vacuum that can slice through a monster's hide.
Intense vacuum. Notice the physics terminology. We have gone from the mysterious powers of the fairy swordsman to aerodynamic principles.
Right. The art is this dark purple, spiky warrior. It looks like high, dark fantasy. But the text is trying to explain his magical power through actual science.
It's a bizarre attempt at logos, explaining the magic away through pseudoscience. It clashes with the artwork in a way that creates a really unique friction. You look at him and ask, is he a dark wizard? And the game says, no, he just moves really, really fast.
And then we have Dehuman.
A truly fascinating artifact of identity crisis.
The art looks like a standard barbarian. He's got horns, big muscles, a giant sword. The text says, gifted with the power of dragons, this warrior wields a sword created from a dragon's fang.
But look at his name again.
Dehuman.
Does the D stand for dragon?
Or is his name just literally the human? Like Dehuman or Deme-human?
We don't know, and the text says he has dragon powers. This is a massive refactoring of identity. Mechanically speaking, the syntax says he is a warrior-type monster.
Okay.
But the lore screams dragon-type. It heavily suggests a backstory of assimilation. Did he kill a dragon to get these powers, or is he slowly transforming into one?
It's just a mystery left completely on the table. He's this weird liminal hybrid.
These cards are just static images, but the friction between their art, their text, and their syntax implies a highly dynamic, constantly shifting world.
It really does. But speaking of dynamic shifting, I think we need to move from analyzing the individuals to analyzing the systems.
The architectonic mysteries.
Exactly. The engines that make the game run. I noticed a huge, undeniable theme of undeath in our source stack today. We have Pyramid Turtle, Vampire Lady, and Call of the Money.
This is where we transition from the collector mindset, looking at pretty pictures and reading sad stories, to the player mindset, which is about building a ruthless machine.
Also,
The zombie type in this game is defined by one overarching mechanical philosophy: recurrence. They simply do not stay dead.
let's start with Pyramid Turtle. It is.
Yeah.
Well, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a zombie turtle with a small stone pyramid stuck to its back.
A very bizarre visual, I agree. But its effect is the absolute cornerstone of the zombie engine. When it is destroyed by a battle and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon another zombie with 2,000 or less defense directly from your deck to the field.
So imagine this playing out. I attack your weird turtle with my knight, I smash it to pieces.
Yeah.
And then, what happens?
The shell cracks open, and something much, much worse crawls out of the pyramid. Competitive gamers call this mechanic floating.
Floating.
Think of a plastic buoy in the ocean. You push it down under the water, you try to sink it, but the exact moment you let go, it pops right back up to the surface.
Okay.
You literally cannot leave the board empty when fighting zombies.
So the turtle dies, and suddenly Vampire Lady just appears out of nowhere.
Precisely. You successfully killed a weak defensive turtle, and as your reward, you are now staring down a highly aggressive vampire.
Let's talk about her. She looks very elegant. She's sitting on a gothic couch holding a glass of what we can assume is blood.
But her effect is incredibly nasty. She attacks the mind.
How does a card attack the mind?
The syntax says that when she inflicts battle damage to your life points, she forces you, the opponent, to send a card type of her controller's choosing, monster, spell, or trap, straight from your deck to the graveyard.
Oh, she mills the deck.
She actively erodes your library. Most monsters in this game just attack your life points. They attack your physical body. She attacks your future options. She makes you forget the spells you are going to draw next.
That is genuinely terrifying. So the turtle dies, which brings out the vampire, who starts eating your deck.
Yep.
And then we also have Call of the Mummy.
A spell card. The visual rhetoric shows mummies violently bursting out of a brick wall.
It allows you to special summon a zombie directly from your hand for free if you currently have no monsters on your side of the field.
It completely fixes the action economy. Usually, the strict rules of the game's syntax say you can only manually summon one monster from your hand per turn. It's the speed limit of the game.
Right. You play one guy, I play one guy.
Call of the Mummy breaks that fundamental rule. It says, the horde is coming and the speed limits do not apply to the dead. You use the spell to drop a zombie for free, and then you use your normal summon for the turn to drop a second one.
So these three cards functioning together, the turtle, the vampire, the mummy, they create a cohesive playstyle.
A style of relentless, suffocating recurrence. You kill them, they immediately come back. You leave them alone, they eat your deck and destroy your options. It is a total refactoring of the standard game state, where death is usually a final consequence.
But here, death is just a public transit system to get stronger monsters onto the field.
Exactly. Death is just a doorway.
There's another machine in this stack that seems to want to change the actual rules of nature. Spiritual Energy Settle Machine.
Now, this is a mouthful of a card name, and the art is equally complex.
It looks like a high-tech sci-fi containment unit with electricity arching everywhere. It looks like the ghost trap from Ghostbusters.
It's a continuous smell. To understand its architectonic function, you first need to understand a specific subtype of cards called spirit monsters.
Okay, lay it on me.
In the game's lore, spirits are these incredibly powerful mythological creatures. But they have a massive mechanical drawback. They automatically return to your hand at the end of the turn they are summoned.
So they don't stick around to defend you.
Exactly. They are fleeting, they are literally ghosts. They strike, and then they vanish.
Hit-and-run guerrilla tactic.
Yes. But this machine, this spiritual energy settle machine, forces them to stay on the field. The syntax says it settles the energy.
Oh, I see.
It completely changes their fundamental nature from ephemeral, dodging spirits into grounded physical soldiers. It anchors them to reality using sci-fi technology.
But there's a heavy cost written here. Discard one card from your hand during each of your end phases to keep this card's effect active.
The machine requires constant fuel to run. It requires a discard.
Wow.
This is a brilliant piece of architectonic design. You are paying a literal maintenance cost to mathematically suppress the natural behavior of the spirits. You are fighting mythological nature with brute force science.
And if you stop paying the energy bill,
The machine breaks, the containment field drops, and all your powerful spirits instantly vanish back to your hand, leaving you defenseless.
that is such a remarkably cool narrative, perfectly tied into a game mechanic. You're literally powering a containment field with your own resources.
It reforges the expected behavior of a specific monster type. It turns a guerrilla war of hit and run into a static trench war.
And speaking of trench warfare and equipping soldiers, we have some very literal tools in this stack too. 7 completed and Gravity Axe Growl.
Let's start with 7 completed. It's a very strange piece of visual rhetoric.
It really is. It's an equipped spell card designed for machine monsters. But the art is literally just the result screen of a slot machine showing 777.
But the effect gives the player a choice. When you equip it, you choose to either give the machine plus 700 attack or plus 700 defense.
That's a modular upgrade.
It's a software patch. You are literally downloading a patch into your robot. You choose the operating mode, aggression protocol or fortification protocol. It perfectly fits the ethos of machines being adaptable and programmable.
I love that. And then we have Gravity Axe Growl. The art on this is this massive, incredibly heavy-looking double-headed axe, and it genuinely looks like it weighs a ton.
This card is where the concept of physics perfectly meets syntax. It adds 500 attack points to whoever holds it, which is decent. But the secondary effect is the absolute flavor win of the century.
Let me read it. Monsters on your opponent's side of the field cannot change their battle position.
Think about the implication of that.
Because the gravity from the axe is literally too heavy for them to move.
That is the exact implication. The axe is so phenomenally dense, so heavy, that it drastically increases the gravitational pull of the entire duel. The opponent's soldiers are physically pinned down to the earth.
That is amazing.
If they are cowering in defense position, they are stuck cowering. If they are in attack position, they are forced to stand up and fight. They cannot retreat.
I love when the game mechanic matches the artwork that perfectly. It's not just some abstract magical effect saying you are frozen. It's visceral. It says you are being physically crushed by gravity.
It imposes a tangible physical reality onto the otherwise abstract math of the rules.
We also have Formation Union here.
A trap card! The art shows two mechanical dragons physically snapping together to combine. This represents the game's union mechanic. It allows certain monsters to attach to each other as weapons, literally piloting one another.
It's basically Voltron.
Exactly like Voltron. It is the pure industrialization of monsters. It refactors two individually weak entities into one massive, strong entity.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the machines, the zombies, the weapons, but we really need to talk about the people who actually use these cards.
The collector identity.
Yes, because some of these cards seem designed for very specific, almost incredibly petty reasons, like they hold a grudge.
You are referring to what I categorize as the hunter and the hunted dynamic.
Yes. Let's look at the hunter with 7 weapons.
Just look at the visual of this guy. It's a warrior carrying a, frankly, ridiculous amount of gear. He has spears, axes, swords strapped all over his back. He looks like a medieval hoarder.
The text is fascinating, though. When this card is normal summoned, declare one type of monster. When battling that type of monster, increase the ATK of this card by 1,000 points.
This creates a brilliant syllogistic puzzle for the player. Think about his ethos. He is a mercenary.
Right.
On his own, at his base level, he's quite weak, only 1,000 ATK. But if you hire him and say, hey, we're fighting dragons today, he nods, reaches into his golf bag of weapons, pulls out the specific dragon-slaying spear, and suddenly he becomes a 2,000 ATK powerhouse.
His entire motive changes based on who the enemy is.
Exactly. It implies that he hates everyone equally as long as he's being paid for it. In actual card game terms, this is what we call a side deck card.
A side deck.
A secondary pool of specific tools you only bring into the main game when you already know exactly what strategy your opponent is using. If you sit down across from the zombie player we talked about earlier, you summon the hunter, you loudly declare a zombie, and the hunter becomes the most valuable player on the board.
It essentially represents racial tension within the lore of the game itself. He is a guy who specializes in the targeted genocide of one specific species at a time.
That is a very dark way to frame it, but mechanically it is completely accurate, and it perfectly fits with another card here, Koji-Kosi.
The flavor text on Koji-Kosi says, Manhunter with powerful arms that can crush boulders.
Notice the phrasing. He hunts men.
That's literally what the text says, Manhunter.
But he himself is a warrior-type monster, meaning he is human. His flavor text, explicitly specifying Manhunter, implies a state of civil war. Human warriors actively hunting other human warriors. The core ethos of the game's universe is conflict, not just between the fantasy species, but within them.
It's a dark world in there. And then we have the gamblers. Look at Kryl.
A genuinely terrifying-looking fiend. Big, sharp teeth, massive horns staring right at you.
But his effect introduces pure RNG random number generation into the narrative. It says, when this card is sent to the graveyard, toss a coin and call it.
And if you call it right, you get to destroy one monster on your opponent's side of the field. It's a spiteful parting shot from beyond the grave.
But it's entirely based on luck.
It is. It turns a tactical battlefield into a cheap casino. The emergent mystery here is that fate, Not player skill or careful architecture decides the outcome of the battle.
Contrast that absolute chaos with this guy, Sasuke Samurai #2.
A very, very serious card. The art is a little focused ninja holding a huge glowing sword.
The text reads, "Once per turn, you can pay 800 life points. If you do this, until the end phase, spell and trap cards cannot be activated."
This is the anti-gambler. This card is all about absolute certainty. You pay a literal blood sacrifice, 800 of your own life points to completely silence the game state.
No tricks.
No tricks, no hidden traps, no mystical space typhoons waiting in the wings. Just pure, uninterrupted, honest combat.
It's a really high price to pay, though. 800 points is a tenth of your total starting life.
It is a steep cost. But for the player identity who values absolute control over casino chaos, it is worth every single drop of blood. It forcefully shuts down the syntax of the opponent's interaction. It looks at the opponent and says, we are going to settle this argument right now with swords, not with magic.
Now, amidst all these serious hunters, cold-blooded killers, and reckless gamblers, we have a poodle.
Yes. Outstanding dog, Marin.
He is so adorable. It's just a fluffy, well-groomed brown dog with a little pink collar. He looks like he belongs in a wealthy lady's purse, not on a battlefield filled with dragons and zombies.
But looks in this game are highly deceiving, because his mechanical effect is infinite.
Let me read it. When this card is sent to your graveyard, it is returned to your deck.
Think about the profound implication of that sentence.
He never truly dies.
He never dies. He creates an infinite, unbreakable loop.
He gets destroyed, he goes to the grave, and then he just happily runs right back home to the deck.
In a game completely populated by demons, dragons, and mechanical horrors, this tiny dog is the only thing that is eternal.
That is honestly weirdly touching. Like, no matter how many times he gets sliced by the hunter with 7 weapons or completely eaten by the vampire lady, he just comes back.
It represents a loyalty that entirely transcends the game's loop of death and destruction. And mechanically speaking, it prevents you, the player, from decking out.
Decking out.
If you run out of cards to draw in your deck, the rules say you instantly lose the game. Marin ensures you will always have at least 1 card left to draw. He literally saves you from the end of the world.
He is the ultimate survivor. A very, very good boy.
The outstanding boy, officially.
Let's shift gears again, back to the visuals. We talked about visual rhetoric earlier. There are some spell cards here that tell a whole complete story just in the tiny artwork box. Incandescent Ordeal really stands out.
We have a full playset of these here. Describe the art for the listeners.
It shows a man. Honestly, he looks like he's having a terrible, terrible time. He's being completely consumed by roaring flames. He's screaming in agony. It looks excruciatingly painful.
It's a ritual spell card. The text reads, this card is used to ritual summon legendary Flame Lord.
So the normal guy burning in the fire,
Yeah.
he becomes the Flame Lord.
That is the clear implication, yes. Ritual spells in this game always require sacrifice. You literally sacrifice levels, meaning you tribute weaker monsters from your hand or field to summon a singular deity.
Right.
The art brutally depicts the painful process of reforging oneself. It's not a peaceful, glowing ascension into heaven. It's a violent ordeal. You burn away the weak humanity to forge the legend. It is incandescent.
It totally connects back to that medieval idea of alchemy. Transformation requires intense pain. And look at spell reproduction right here.
Yes. The art shows a classic wizard hovering intensely over a glowing orb with dusty books scattered all over the table.
The effect is basically equivalent exchange. It says you must send 2 spell cards from your hand to the graveyard to select 1 spell card from your graveyard and add it back to your hand. Wait, you give up 2 cards just to get 1 back? That's terrible math. That's a -1 in card advantage, right? We just established with Pot of Greed that we want +1s.
Usually, yes, it's bad math, but think about the context. What if the 1 card you get back is Pot of Greed?
Oh, right, or Snatch Steal.
Exactly. The rhetoric the card is arguing is that specific, targeted knowledge, the exact spell you desperately need right now, is worth far more than generic knowledge, the 2 random spells you discard to pay the cost.
It emphasizes that true mastery requires sacrifice.
Yes. You burn the books you don't need in order to recover the 1 specific incantation that will win the war.
It's absolutely quality over quantity. And then right next to it, we have Hidden Book of Spell.
A trap card. The art shows a single glowing blue book hidden amidst a massive pile of drab normal ones.
It recycles spells too, but differently. Select 2 spell cards from your graveyard and add them to your deck.
Notice the difference. It doesn't put them directly into your hand where you can use them immediately. It puts them back into the library.
It hides them for later.
It buries the knowledge, it extends the length of the game. It's a card all about longevity and playing the long game.
There's a really interesting duality in the medicine cards in this game, too. Look at Poison of the Old Man.
The art is classic fantasy trope. A hooded, deeply wrinkled figure holding out two potions to you. One is bright green, the other is dark purple.
It's totally the Matrix choice. Red pill or blue pill.
Exactly. And the text gives the player a literal choice when they play it. Increases your life points by 1,200 points, or inflict 800 points of direct damage to your opponent's life points.
Cure or kill.
This is the pure ethos of the apothecary. Medicine is just poison administered in the wrong dosage. The card is an incredibly flexible tool for the player identity.
Right, because if you're dying, you drink the green potion to survive another turn.
But if you see a slight opening to finally end the game, you throw the purple potion at their head to finish them off.
It's one of the few cards we've looked at that explicitly allows the player to completely change their role from defensive healer to aggressive killer in the exact middle of a turn.
It highly rewards situational awareness. It asks the player, who do you need to be right now?
And then stepping away from the magic potions, we have the most literal, mundane structures imaginable. Castle walls.
It is, well, it's just walls.
Literally just a brick wall. And the effect, it gives one monster plus 500 defense points for the turn.
It turns any monster into a temporary fortress. It is the most brutally literal architectonic card we have in the stack. You play it, you build a physical wall around your headless knight, and suddenly he's tough enough to survive the battle.
And its aggressive counterpart, reinforcements.
Which gives plus 500 attack points. The art shows soldiers rushing in with swords drawn.
The sword to the wall shield.
These are the syntax primitives of the entire game. It's just simple addition, early game combat math. They aren't flashy like the big dragons, but they define the baseline parameters of conflict.
And then there's morale boost.
A continuous spell. The art shows a guy just getting incredibly pumped up, glowing with energy. Each time a player equips an equipped spell card, life points increase by 1,000 points.
That is a ton of healing. We established 1,000 is a lot with Snatch Steal.
It actively rewards you for reforging your monsters. If you equip that super heavy gravity axe to your sad headless knight, not only does he get physically stronger, but you, the player, feel emotionally better represented by gaining life points.
It strongly incentivizes a very specific type of play. The Voltron strategy of stacking all your weapons onto a single guy to make a super soldier.
Exactly. Okay, now I want to bring this all together.
Let's synthesize.
We've talked extensively about the synergy of the weird here. We have these completely random cards, pink poodles, headless ghosts, literal brick walls, gothic vampires.
It feels like a junk drawer in a kid's bedroom.
On the surface, yes. But there are cards hidden in this stack that seem expressly designed to connect these disparate elements.
The Searchers.
Yes. These are the underlying syntax engines that bind the deck together into a cohesive force.
Let's start with Birdface. Terrible, terrible name, by the way.
It is highly descriptive, though.
Card is terrifying. It looks like a harpy, but its brain is completely exposed.
It's gross. But when it's destroyed in battle, its effect lets you search your deck and add a card named Harpy Lady directly to your hand.
No, wait. Harpy Lady isn't actually in our source stack today. We don't have that card here.
We don't. But Birdface's text proves she exists somewhere in the broader world. It connects this isolated, random pile of cards on our table to a much larger, unseen ecosystem. It implies a mechanical relationship.
Same thing with Arsenal Summoner, right?
Exactly. When you flip him over, he searches your deck for Guardian cards. Again, pointing to a specific themed archetype of protectors that exist out there in the lore.
But the big one, the undisputed king of the Searchers, is this little fuzzball right here. Sangan.
Ah, the key to the city. Sangan.
He's a little round brown furball with 3 eyes, sharp claws, and he looks incredibly grumpy. And we have a full play set of him.
Mechanically speaking, Sangan is arguably one of the most important and powerful creatures in the entire history of the game's design.
Really? This little guy?
Listen to the text. When this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, select one monster with an ATK of 1,500 or less from your deck, show it to your opponent, and add it to your hand.
1,500 or less. That is a very specific numerical threshold. Let's look at our stack. Who exactly does Sangan fetch?
Almost everyone.
Let's check the math. He fetches Headless Knight, right? Because he's 1450.
He fetches the Knight. He fetches Aitsu, who is only 100. He fetches the outstanding dog Marin. He fetches the individual pieces of Exodia, the game-winning forbidden cards, if we had them here.
Wait, does he fetch Vampire Lady? We talked about her earlier.
Check her attack points. What is it?
Oh, no. It's 1550.
Ah, a brilliant tragedy of design. She is exactly 50 points too strong. Sangin cannot find her.
That is legitimately heartbreaking.
Wow.
She's just slightly too powerful to be helped by the fuzzy little guide.
But crucially, he can find the pyramid turtle. Its attack is 1200.
Oh. Okay, so Sangin dies, and you use his effect to fetch the turtle from your deck. Then on your next turn, you play the turtle. The turtle gets destroyed in battle, and it floats into the Vampire Lady.
And there it is. There is the emergent architectonic mystery in action. A perfect chain of custody.
Wow.
Sangin is the glue. He is the underlying syntax that ensures you have the exact right tool in your hand at the exact right time. He connects the disparate stories. He introduces the tragic Headless Knight directly to the hand of the player who needs him.
It's honestly amazing how a tiny little card with only 1,000 attack points becomes the MVP of the entire game.
Yes.
Simply because he knows everyone's phone number.
Networking is an incredibly powerful skill, even for a three-eyed fiend from the underworld. He doesn't need to fight. He recruits the fighters.
We also have Kaiser Seahorse.
A truly majestic creature visually, a giant sea serpent clad in glowing golden armor.
His text says, you can treat this monster as 2 tribute monsters for the tribute summon of a light monster.
He is essentially a battery, a highly dedicated resource. In the syntax of this game, the really big, powerful monsters require sacrifices to summon. Usually you have to tribute 2 smaller monsters off your field.
But the Seahorse says, I count as 2 all by myself.
Yes. He sacrifices his own life so that something twice as big can live.
So he exists solely to facilitate the arrival of something greater than himself, like a Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Exactly. He is the mechanical light in the darkness. He is the herald.
And Serpentine Princess does something similar, right?
Yes, but in reverse. If she gets sent back into the deck, she summons something else onto the field. She works completely backwards. Usually you want to pull things out of the deck. She actively wants to return to the source, to the library, in order to bring out a friend.
It's all about moving resources between zones. And then look at Vile Pawn Archfiend.
The visual is a living chess piece, a literal pawn.
His effect protects the other Archfiend monsters. If an opponent tries to attack an Archfiend, the pawn forces them to attack him instead.
Get down, Mr. President.
Exactly, he dives in front of the bullet.
He has absolutely no ego. His character quality is pure, unadulterated servitude. He willingly sacrifices himself for the king.
Speaking of the king, or at least the heavy infantry, we have Archfiend Soldier.
Ah, okay.
He's a normal monster, 1900 attack. 0 effect text, just a big, scary, muscular demon holding an axe.
So why do people play him if he has no story and no effect?
Because 1900 is big.
Because 1900 was the absolute magic number for a very long time. It was the gold standard for a level 4 monster that you didn't have to sacrifice for.
Right, he just beats everyone up.
He effortlessly beats the Headless Knight. He crushes Sangin. He easily kills the Hunter with 7 weapons. He doesn't need a complex story or a tricky effect because his entire story is simply, I hit you very, very hard.
Sometimes that is absolutely all the rhetoric you need to win an argument.
Indeed. Brute force is a highly valid logical argument in a war.
Okay, we are wrapping up here. We have looked at unimaginably powerful grinning pots, sad wandering ghosts, loyal pink dogs, mechanized spirits, and sacrificial chess pieces.
We have seen exactly how the character quality motives, the deeply sad lore of the Headless Knight, for example, completely clash and combine with the syntax debug, the raw, undeniable math of Pot of Greed.
And we've seen how the collector identity player isn't just mindlessly playing a children's card game. They are actively managing a complex theater of war where a tiny poodle can infinitely block a dragon, and a simple jar of greed is the most dangerous weapon on the planet.
The true emergent architectonic mystery is how all these completely random pieces fit together into a 40-card deck to create a cohesive, winning strategy. You take the tragedy of the knight, the greed of the pot, the loyalty of the dog, and you engineer a machine that mathematically defeats your opponent.
It is an act of genuine creation, using prefabricated myths as your building blocks.
That is a beautiful way to phrase it.
We are remixing MIPS to win a game of math.
But before we sign off, there is one last card in the stack that we haven't touched yet, and I deliberately saved it for the very end because it is, well, it's deeply unsettling.
Oh, the 13th grave.
Yes.
Yeah.
A simple vanilla monster. 1,200 attack points, 900 defense points, mechanically irrelevant.
The art is a skeleton screaming, literally rising out of an open grave in a cemetery. It looks like a heavy metal album cover from the 80s.
Read the flavor text for us.
It says, A zombie that suddenly appeared from plot #13 an empty grave.
An empty grave. Plot number 13.
Yeah, that's spooky, but what does it mean?
Think about the meta-narrative happening here. The game knows it is a game. When you play your cards, when your monsters die, where do they physically go on the table?
They go to the graveyard pile. That's the official rulebook term for the discard pile.
Exactly. And this card, according to its lore, comes from the empty grave.
Oh.
It heavily implies that the 13th grave is the actual destination on the player's map. It implies that the player, you and I sitting at the table, are the true necromancers.
Wow. We are the ones filling that grave every single time we play Mystical Space Typhoon or Sacrifice Sangan.
Precisely. It entirely breaks the fourth wall of the game. It suggests that the entire game loop is just a cycle of filling graves in order to summon more monsters who then die and fill even more graves.
It totally questions the ethos of the player. Are we the noble heroes commanding armies for truth and justice? Or are we just digging holes for bodies?
Are we the villains of the story?
That's a chilling thought. We are the players, but we are the ones causing all the death.
In the dark world of the 13th grave, perhaps there is absolutely no difference between a hero and a villain. Just the one who holds the cards.
On that incredibly haunting note, check your decks, always read your flavor text, and maybe, just maybe, let that poor headless knight actually win a battle once in a while.
He really does deserve it.
Thanks for listening to this deep dive. We'll see you next time.
In the vault of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Zip, where the secrets will start to unzip. Take a breath and prepare for the trip. Green orbs glow in the triadic stack. Count the spells so there is nothing lack. Draw a card for the strength you will pack. Heart of greed with a jade-col-ored face, adding two to the hand in this place, speeding up the most terrible race. Grace-ful char-it come from the sky, drawing three as the shadows go by. Discard two and prepare for to die. Lord of flame in the ordeal of fire, burning higher and burning with fire. Tribute paid for the soul you desire. Nec-ross walks from the dark of the grave. Chained limbs are the ones you must save. Con-tract sign it for the power you crave. The royal tribute of Nec-ross. Discard monsters in every alley. Sangan watches with 3 yellow eyes, searching out for a wicked surprise. From the field to the grave where he lies, D.D. warrior Lofty is here. Banish monsters and banish the fear. Make the enemy pathway be clear. Dark Paladin is fused by the light. Dragon Slayer who ends every fight, stopping spells in the dead of the night. Vampire lady on velvety seat, making victory bitter and sweet. Turning the deck for the final defeat. Axe of gravity holds them in chains, locking down all the paths and the lanes. Heavy metal is all that remains. Magic cylinders trap every blast, turning back all the spells that were cast, making sure that the ending will last. Torrential try but falls like a flood, forcing field with the rain and the mud, and the gloom and the flower and bud. Soul exchange for a price you must pay. Take a monster and take it away. Skip the battle for just one more day. Spirit-ry, you will burn with the soul. Discard dragons to take back control. Win the game is the ultimate goal. Se-crets will bowl with the blue. Destroy monsters that come after you. Trust the armor to see the game through. Thous and needles is curled in balls, waiting for all the monsters that fall. He is waiting inside of these walls. Final counter for Library Head. Read the cards that the ancients have said. Truth is found in the books of the dead. Now the zip has been finally closed. In the light where the truth is exposed. From the field that the cards have imposed. Seek the theft within the stacks of the fear. Within the stacks of love.